Hello, team. I wanted to do a little update as per usual. Uh, we are 0-3, which isn't the greatest result. I think some of the guys have already mentioned on stream that some of the scrims have been tough, something we're riding out. The patch wasn't like the greatest for us. Obviously, we played things on the weekend that we had like convictions in. I guess I can isolate the games one per one. The Fnatic game, I think that we could have definitely done more around the Drake area. I think we played a composition on the first day that required us to snowball quick and effectively, which requires a lot of precision, especially early on. I think that obviously you play what you practice, you play what you're comfortable on. It's something that we did. But something that we didn't do too well was connect around mid lane, make sure that our Rise can play in the game. Because Nemesis, whenever someone was on his screen, it was just to take plating gold from him. So that's something we've struggled with because I think LR in the past was very good at being self-sufficient and building information through the lanes that allowed people the freedom to make plays. And nowadays the meta is very, very, team-oriented, tempo-oriented, and you need to group and fight around mid. And this is something we've been actively working on. And at game one, it didn't work too well. You could see Fnatic had like the angles to collapse on us with Talia and Pantheon. But I do think that the lane advantages we built in bot and so forth definitely allowed us to qualify in to the game. Was also unlucky there, Velia, if he just takes that red buff from Vi as well, it also changes the game completely. So I think it was just like a lot of nerves in the beginning, things that we needed to figure out, and I do think eventually, of course, Fnatic just outscaled us. So we recognize, of course, in the LEC the games tend to be a little bit slower. We changed up some of our draft prep and we made the adjustment based on what we practice. Still, of course, you want to always remain in the practice. In the second day, I do think that KCB did a good job in the early game to punish us. We didn't manage to secure crabs with Jarvan, which is something that just can't fly. But still, we were in that Jarvan spot that, of course, puts pressure on us to execute in the early game. And we still had that same issue where we didn't really connect well. Our draft, we needed to play 2-2-1 and it was definitely something that was a pain point in the game where we were always kind of like disconnected. We did have that one really clean fight. I really love what Boss did. The level 3 gank on mid was really nice. He was fighting back in the matchup, died, but then got a kill back. I think also that fight from Velia on the Dragon was also amazing when we one-shot the Oriana. That was like our big comeback. But it was very clear that like the coordination, us being in sync, was something that was a problem. As coming into game three, I was very happy with the performance, all things considered, because game three, we actually shored up that weakness. I did feel like we connected better, we put vision down better, we managed to control the Azir Oriana matchup really, really well. I think Nemesis finally, had teammates around him that allowed him to actually play and posture and to trade, which is basically what mid lane is right now. I think for anyone that watched Los Ratones, the Nemesis was always like standalone, and then when he played, like if he could figure out the matchup on his own, he was performing super good, and then he would just shot call the whole game if he was playing like the Galio and the Rise. But now it's of course a very, very team-oriented game, and this is something that we are actively working on. I feel like the team is in good spirits. I think that after the KCB loss, I was worried that we would take it a little bit harsher, but I feel like everyone is very rational about what we need to do. I think in the end, a 0-3 can be very scary, but it needs to, if we want to use it as experience, so it needs to represent exactly, as that. If you have bad takeaways and, you have, the wrong energy coming out of a 0-3, because you need to face that, with vigor and intensity. And coming into this week, booking scrims was a little bit challenging, in terms of what's coming up. Maybe more on that when the split is finished, but some dynamics that happen always in a league that I can mention at some point in the future. In terms of the details of the prep as well. Maybe in the future we will just review the games and I can like share all the thought processes, real time, and how everything evolved, which could be fun. But obviously, for strategic reasons, we can't go into deep. Obviously, everyone's in good spirits. I feel like it's very clear now. What we really need to play in the context of everybody else too, because obviously the LEC as a league, I think that the games are a lot slower. In scrims, they are very bloody, and it's like 50 kills, and it's rock and roll. I think it's it's similar to that. I imagine for anyone really that stage games are just slower. So it's not something that is like completely crazy, but at the same time, I do think it's almost more extreme than I even anticipated. But we're going to be working on making sure that we connect the jungle support duo, and of course connecting with Nemesis. And then in the end, I think a big one, as we were playing and connecting and moving on the map good against KC, it was just that team fight execution in the end that definitely we can do better. I think what I want to work on this week is to make sure that the guys have like the confidence to really pull the trigger when it's their turns and their time, when they've done all the steps, to just shoot from the hip and to just rock up to those fights and do it with confidence. So we're maintaining the good things that we got away, because I did think over the weekend we improved, we improved, improved. The KC game was definitely by far the best one, and we are looking forward to the practice week. Honestly, today is our off day. Everyone's streaming in the office. Everyone's working hard. Now the direction is super super clear. We have a couple of scrim days, and I think if we build up that confidence to really pull the trigger when we have the chances, I think that anyone is beatable. I think the LEC level right now is all over the place. I thought MCOY looked quite impressive in the first week, but they also got stomped by shifters. It's just the nature of BO1s, right? It can be very poisonous. And, a mistake in draft or a mistake in play can suddenly, put you on a losing end. And it's just about, being ready to capture and being ready to win when the opportunities come. Even I thought G2 would do a lot better, but even they, had a couple of losses there. They beat SK in the end off of that horrible start that the leader had on Aurelion Sol, where he lost all of his HP level 1, right? I think it's just for us, I feel good about the draft read we've had. The prep against teams too has felt very good. And I know that now that we have more footage, the preparation can be a lot more specific too, because that's where we need to, of course, find advantages. But all in all, I feel like everyone's in good spirits. Everyone's ready for what's to come. We're going to have like a big prep day where we really go through all of the games, really make big commitments on what we want to do and achieve, because now we have all of the information. And I think already from day one, we can, say, this is what we're going to play, this is what we're going to do against these teams, no problem. And I'm excited for that. Really, really excited for that. 0-3, 1-2, whatever, nothing changes. I think coming into this week, Team Heretic, Shifters, and of course GX. I think Shifters could have been 3-0. I think that they are very, how they play around bot lane is commendable. I think that's, good on their side. But I think also they are beatable. I think Navi also, they like throw through a game against Fnatic. Navi we don't play, but I'm just highlighting them as a team that kind of like impressed in my mind in the first week. I think having good draft read, landing on the right champions that fit the pacing of the game is a really big deal. And all in all, 0-3 obviously sucks. That KC game would have felt amazing to win it. It would have felt so good to win it. Of course, considering, like how good KC rosters is on paper, and with the KC fans in the arena screaming and stuff, it would have felt very, very good. But that's just like, you know, that's just vanity. It's not that important. Like I just want the guys to give their best performance, which I think we slowly got to over the weekend. I think that we are capable of more, and I think now the arguments for why we need to improve certain things, why we need to get better at certain things, become a lot easier with this footage in mind. Because sometimes when the scrims are so bloody, arguing against the bloodiness and to have them focus on the correct things becomes a little bit more difficult. But now the footage is there, and the arguments for what the homies should do become, as I mentioned, much easier. But we're in good spirits. I think that's the big one. I don't know what else to share without divulging too much on the information side. We did a little bit with sickness too, so I'm hoping that coming into this week we're all healthy. But I think that's a part of just playing in winter, of course. Like people get sick, and that's something that you have to deal with. There is no substituting anyone out, and people need to kind of fire through. Um, I know people that watch Nemesis stream, for example, he was coughing a lot. Reckless was sick too. Baus was sick. And now coming into the third day of LEC, Velia was sick, and that's why he's wearing like this cape, So that's some of the things we're dealing with. But we're in good spirits. Energy is high, and we're excited for what's to come. I think that coming into this week, uh, it's time to put the dubs on the board. That's what it is. Finally, I round off with saying I'm very grateful for the fans in the studio that are chanting and that are coming up to us and giving their love to the players. It was very good to see. We did a fan meet. It was very nice to see like how happy the players were. They were really really enjoying it. It was very clear, and I think that means a great deal. That support goes a long way, and without the fans, none of this would be possible in the end. So, a deep appreciation for all the guys that are supporting, and you know, people are gonna write in the comments, "Oh, Yamato, why did you pick this champ? Why did you do this champ?" It's like I think the games were very winnable with what we had, and this is this was a big part of our comfort. We pivoted, obviously, we see what works and what doesn't work, but you know, the details as to why, if you're really, really curious, maybe we can talk about that at some point in the future when this winter split is a distant memory, let's say. With that being said, thank you very much for watching till the end. I'll catch you guys on the next update. Peace.